With camp just about over, Boston College is about to start their season, and I'm going to go in game by game and give you my predictions Eagles are going to do in the 2022 season. This is an episode you're not going to want to miss on today's Locked On Boston College.
You are Locked On Boston College, your daily podcast on the Boston College Eagles, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome to Locked On Boston College. I am your host, AJ Black. I'm also the editor and publisher of Eagle Insider, part of the 247 Sports Network. On today's show, we're going to dive in, go game by game, and I'm going to give you my predictions for the Eagles in the 2022 season. Now, the season's going to start off on September 3rd against Rutgers. This game is a big game for both teams. Now, about a week ago, I was on a Rutgers podcast and I talked about it, and they were saying, this is a big game for them. A couple of listeners of our podcast or people who found Locked On BC heard me say that this is a Super Bowl for Rutgers, and they got mad at me because we play Ohio State, we play Michigan. How is Boston College our Super Bowl? Now, let me clarify. This is a game that Rutgers could win, unlike those other games. So this is the Super Bowl for them in terms of winnability. Now, for the Eagles, this is their opener. This is at home at Chestnut Hill. It's a big game for them. It's a big game for Rutgers. I like BC in here, and here's the reason why. Thanks of both programs. BC's got a good offense, a solid defense. Rutgers has a good defense. Let's not get away from what Rutgers can do. They have a solid secondary that has a cornerback that could be very difficult for Zay Flowers. That being said, I think BC's stronger in a few different spots. I think their offensive line should be okay. I like what they can do moving the ball, and I don't see Rutgers able to move against this defense with Noah Vidral as their starting quarterback. So, the starting line on this on BetOnline or BetOnline.net, is about 7.5 right now. I think BC will cover that and win this game. 1-0 for the Eagles with a win over Rutgers. But it's a tough start of their season for BC as they next head over to Virginia Tech. This is the second game of this. Now, when the schedule first came out and Virginia Tech had Justin Fuente, they just fired him. I said, this is going to be an easy one for BC. They go to Blacksburg against a team that is rebuilding. This should be a no-brainer for BC to win this game. They're in a better spot in terms of program development than where the Hokies are. But BC drew a bad straw here as the Hokies are going to have their game at night in Blacksburg. That changes a lot of the complexion of this game because I don't think Virginia Tech has a ton on, especially on the offensive side of the ball to balance what BC can do. But man, Blacksburg at night with that Enter Sandman, with the fans there, it's a completely different galaxy than Blacksburg during the day. That stadium is mayhem. It's an atmosphere that is unlike anything else in the ACC. Probably Clemson. I still think once they get the jitters out, and I worry about the offensive line in this game a little bit because Brent Pry, who I think is a great addition for the Hokies, will have that defense buzzing because he is a pressure-heavy coach. That being said, this game, I think BC will win and go to 2-0. And here's why. I don't see Virginia Tech scoring many points. Grant Wells is their quarterback. He's a transfer from Marshall. Good story, but the ACC is loaded with quarterbacks. Whether you're talking about Sam Hartman, who I know is hurt, or he's out. You have Phil Dracovic. You have Malik Cunningham, Jordan Travis. You name it, they have it. Grant Wells is not. And he may be okay. He had some really big numbers against for Marshall. That being said, I'm going to pick BC here to win this one. I think they're going to do it. 2-0 for BC. Going on to game number 3. And this is a tough one here for BC. It's a game against the Maine Black Bear. Watch out. Now, BC's going to win this game. And here's what I think, right? you play the FCS squads and you hope for some sort of storyline to keep it interesting. Maine isn't that good. And, they're an FCS school. And I just think BC should win this. Now they do have one really interesting storyline. They have Kobe White. Now, if you remember, Kobe White is a former BC wide receiver. He was a fan favorite for years. He transferred to James Madison. Something happened there. Don't know exactly what. And he ends up in Maine. It'll be fun to see him in the black and blue there. But I don't think this should be much of a chore for BC. That being said, what would you like to see out of BC for this game? They really need to get Djokovic and company out of that game as fast as possible. This is a game building 23 where you get Emmett Moorhead out there. You get Lewis Bond, Dante Reynolds, the second team defense, Owen Stodmeyer, Nigel Tate, and you give them some valuable snaps. And when I say valuable snaps, I don't want to see BC doing what Adazio did, which is running the ball. Whenever BC would either be up by a lot or down by a lot, Adazio would put in the backups and then just have them hand the ball off 30 times to end the game or whatever it was. It just seemed like a complete waste of time. You need to run your offense. If you have Emmett Moorhead out there, do not just have him hand the ball off if they're winning. Have him throw some passes, see how he reacts to different things. And on defense, try some different things too. It's a valuable experience for all the guys involved, and this will be a perfect game to do that. So it's BC at this point. No, I get the Eagles at 3-0 going into game number 4. And before you yell at me and say, AJ, are you going to pick BC to go 12-0? I am not picking them to go 12-0. I promise you they're going to lose some games. And in fact, we'll get that started right now when they play Florida State. Now, Florida State on paper isn't that much better than BC. They have, Jordan Travis absolutely wrecked BC last year. He is a problem. He's got speed. He does things that BC struggles to do. Why I pick Florida here is because they are a team that is built differently than the Eagles, right? Florida State just recruits speed. Like they are a team they're a track meet team, right? They get all the guys down in Florida that can run like hell and they can do things. And that has always been an issue for the Eagles. Now there's teams out there that can counteract what Florida State can do. Clemson's a perfect example of that, right? That being said, in this one, I got to put BC losing this game. I don't see the Eagles winning. I don't see I just see it's a game, and I don't want to say a trap game because it's not a trap game because BC's going to be probably an underdog heading into this, but I don't see the Eagles winning this one. I see them falling behind and losing to Florida State, making them 3-1 through the first 4 games. And in a moment, get to the second set of 4 games, see how BC does there, and if they can improve on their record and maybe get a top 25 win. Now, betonline.net is the fastest and easiest way to check in on all your betting needs. Find all your favorite sports and events at the #1 online source for odds, lines, and games. Find reviews and news, including Major League Baseball, NFL, NBA, NHL, combat sports, esports, and even golf. Right now, with college sports coming, you can get Heisman odds, you can get conference odds, you can get over and unders. I mean, there's a million different opportunities. If you're a college football fan and you want to get your action, head on over to BetOnline. BetOnline continues to be the top online resource for all your sports wagering information. From live game betting, scores, and podcasts, they have got you covered. Head to the BetOnline today or use your mobile device to learn more about the action happening today. Where the game starts. All right, folks, we are on to our next game for BC, and this is a tough one. This is the Louisville Cardinals here, and the Cardinals are the darling of the media heading into this season. Malik Cunningham has been praised best quarterback in the conference. They're thinking he's going to be, all ACC, that he's going to be better than everyone else and they're going to do things that they haven't been ironic, given that about 6 months ago everyone wanted Satterfield fired. They have some things that they can do. That being said, last year when BC played Louisville, They played without Dennis Grosel on the road. They played with no offense. And Malik Cunningham did beat them down the stretch. But that was because BC's defense was left high and dry for most of that game. With Louisville not having that great of a defense, they went out there and went crazy in the transfer portal, but they didn't have much. Will they be able to improve that? That's a big question, right? I like BC's chances here. And here's one thing I'm going to say about this. I think BC's going to win this. I'm also going to say that Louisville could be going into this game ranked because they're media darling. So they're going to be a team that's probably going to get some votes real easy. If they go and beat UC, which I think they could do, watch out because they could go 4-0 and then go 4-0 against BC. And if they are 4-0, they are going to be ranked. And if they are ranked, watch out for BC because if BC does that, that gives you what you've been looking for. That is their first game against a ranked opponent that they have beaten since 2014 when they beat USC at home. I'm predicting that right now. The Eagles are going to get their first ranked win against Louisville at home on October 1st. There you go, folks. You wanted a crazy prediction? You got one here on Locked On BC. Now, from there, it gets tougher. This is a game against Clemson in game number 6 that I have been battling back and forth. This is not one that I have taken lightly. If you've listened to some of my predictions, if you've seen my work on Eagle Insider, I had them, as a possible BC win. BC has only lost to Clemson by 6 points in the last 2 games, and both of those games were at Death Valley. BC now gets Clemson at the Red Bandana game. This is a game that I had circled as a potential upset, but I can't pick it. I just, in good conscience, folks on YouTube are going to be listening to this and going, AJ, you picked BC to beat Clemson, and Clemson did this and this. I can't do it right now. I cannot. This can't be my upset game I pick because when I look at the strengths and weaknesses of both of these schools, it just matches up so poorly for the Eagles. Now, Clemson has their offense is not second in the country in scoring last year. DJ is a mess. I'm going to guess at this point, though, DJU is not going to be the quarterback for Clemson, and they're going to go with Klubniak, their backup. Gabe Klubniak, excuse me. I think he's going to be their starting quarterback by that point. And if he's their quarterback, he'll get that offense fixed. I just get that. I imagine that's what's going to happen. The bigger issue here is their defensive line against BC's offensive line. I have said all along that BC's offensive line needs to be serviceable. That's all they need to do to win some games. They need to be much better than serviceable to manage against Clemson. They need to be really good because Clemson's defense is an absolute juggernaut. And they're going to be the best, I think, the best in college football this year. They have so much talent up and down that defense that it's going to be a challenge for even good offensive lines to stop them, let alone an offensive line that has, I think when I was talking to Coach Googs on Tuesday or Monday, he said they have 160 snaps between all of them. That's not going to beat Clemson. I just want to make this game. And you know what? I wanted to pick BC to win this, but I can't do it. I'm going to pick BC to lose, and that's going to put them at 4-2. So on to our next. And this was the hardest game. Wake Forest, the Demon Deacons, heading down to Wake. This was the hardest game for me to pick because we don't know what Wake Forest is going to be like. And it's true to say, any team, we don't know what they're going to look like when they play them. But right now, we don't know if Sam Hartman's going to be there. And with Sam Hartman versus without Sam Hartman is quite a big difference. Because without Sam Hartman, Wake Forest takes a humongous step back. They don't have any defense. And without their all ACC quarterback, I worry that they wouldn't be able to stop anything. Don't worry, if they're playing BC, you want to see them score, right? Hartman is there. That changes the complexion again. But what I'm going to say here, I think Wake Forest's defense is a major liability. And I take the game that BC played against them last year and throw it out the window because I don't think it matters that BC lost 41-10. BC had the flu. Djokovic was sick. Half the team was hurt. It was the end of the season. It was a mess. This game falls in the middle of the year, so it's a better spot for them to fall. Hopefully BC will be healthier, and we'll get to see a better matchup than we saw last year when BC got smoked. Especially if I have BC winning this game 5-2. And I don't think this will be a ranked game. I don't see Wake Forest, especially without Hartman, being ranked by the time this game happens. So unfortunately, it won't be 2 ranked wins for BC. It'll be a win though for against Wake Forest. And then finally, the last game on our little go around to the second segment is against the UConn Huskies. And UConn is a team that's a mess. They are absolutely a mess. And they are trying to figure out how to get their team back into some resemblance of respectability, right? They got Jim Mora Jr., a seasoned head coach to come in, but he has a Titan's responsibility of figuring out what the heck to do with this program because they don't have a conference. No one wants to play for them. They're in, they've got very little in terms of momentum. They're not good. They're not very good. It's going to take him years if he's even the right guy to get things back on track. And right now, they're recruiting classes in the hundreds. It's a mess. What kid's going to want to play for a program that just pays basically programs to beat the snot out of them or plays against Sunbelt teams? That's basically what UConn has become. I don't see them winning this game. And again, as I said, against Maine, you want to see BC get Emmett Moorhead out there, get those backups and beat UConn and get out of there. And I think easy win. I'm not the biggest fan of playing in Hartford, but just win it, move on. Now, the Ultimate College Football Preview, special opportunity for college football fans here on the Locked On Network. I can't wait to tell you about this. Thanks again for making Locked On Boston College your first listen every day. The Ultimate College Football Preview is here, a 7-episode preview with college experts, local team experts, and Odyssey College football insiders. It's everything you need to be ready for the college football season in one spot. Search Ultimate College Football Preview on your Odyssey app, YouTube, or wherever you get your podcasts. All right, we're going back into our scheduler, and we're on to Duke. And I just said UConn is bad. Duke is bad, but not to the same level as UConn. And I don't want to rip on Duke because this is a program that my co-host on Locked On AC, check that out. I'm on there on Wednesdays. Candace Cooper says that not sleep on. Well, I am not sold on Duke yet. I think they will get there, but I don't see them yet becoming a team of turning this around. And I love Mike Elko, their hire. I think he's an excellent decision for Duke because he reminds me a lot of Jeff Hafley. Now, when Hafley, even when he was being hired, Elko was a potential hire for BC. He had been at and Notre Dame. He ends up at Texas A&M. Good hire, but Duke is bad. And they're going to take some time if Elko is going to get this going again. It's going to take some time for him to get them going, get them, clicking. And I think that this year won't be it. They lost their only real star in Mateo Durant. I liked what he could do, but, they don't have much on offense. BC is night Friday, I believe it is. I like BC winning this game easy. Now, okay, so we are at we're 7-3 right now, and we have a couple more games to go. 7-2 right now. 3 more games to go. They get NC State. Now, if you've heard this podcast, you know how I think about NC State. This is a team I really like. This is my pick to win the ACC because they're the most well-rounded team in the conference. I like Devin Leary. I'm not sure if he's an NFL caliber quarterback, but man, at the college level, this kid can whip it and he can make lots of good decisions to beat good teams. I like what they have on defense with Peyton Wilson. They've got talent everywhere. Dave Doran's a solid coach, and BC gets him on the road. I can't pick BC to win this game. I think there's just too much talent on that NC State roster for BC to win it. I'm going to go down and say that they're going to lose to NC State, and it's going to be a 7-3 at this point. So then it doesn't get easier. This is a tough little couple game swing for BC because now they head off to South Bend and they play the Notre Dame Fighting Irish. And believe me, this is a game that has a ton of drama behind it. When you look at who's playing, Phil Dracovic and offensive coordinator John McNulty and tight end George Takis. I mean, there's so many storylines. I mean, even on the other sideline, you got Al Washington, right? This is a big game. And there's nothing fans would want more to beat the Fighting Irish and finally end. I think it's like a 10-game losing streak that they're on. And I cannot, I'm trying to be objective here, folks. If I went in here and just went, BC's going 12-0, I'd get laughed out and you guys wouldn't listen to it. I'm trying to be fair here. I'm trying to tell you what I really think. Notre Dame has a defense. And again, this, BC's offensive line just needs to be serviceable. Circled and said, yeah, they got to be more than serviceable to beat Notre Dame. Now, that being said, this is later in the season, so hopefully the offensive line will get some things going, but it's on the road. It's the Fighting Irish. Notre Dame's very good. They may not be a top 10 team this year, but they're good enough. And BC's going to win. I don't think BC's going to win this game. And they're going to drop to 7-4 here. They're going to lose to Notre Dame. And it's a tough pill to swallow, but that's what I'm going to pick. Now, our final game, kind of one that'll set the tone of where this season is going. And it is the Syracuse Fighting Irish. Fighting Irish. Syracuse Orange. Jeez, AJ, what am I talking about? And I pulled up their schedule this year. And it kind of helped me understand where I think this program is going to go and why I think Syracuse football is in major trouble this year. Now they have some good qualities here, right? They have Sean Tucker, good running back. They've got excellent defense. Garrett Williams is one of the best defensive backs in the country, right? That being said, looking at their schedule, holy moly, they get to start off the season. They have Louisville. Sorry, I say it like they do. Louisville. And it's a game on the road. Game at home. Louisville is as must win of a game as they're going to have. And I don't think they can beat them. At UConn, okay. Then they have Purdue, good game. Virginia, good game. They have Wagner, okay. Then it goes from about 20 miles an hour to 85 miles an hour to end the season. They go NC State, Notre Dame, Pitt, Florida State, Wake Forest. How is Dino Babers going to save his job with that schedule? Because he's kind of on the hot seat. He hasn't had a winning season since 2018. And you look at that schedule right now, and you tell me they're going to win 6 games out of that. If Dino Babers can win 6 games with that schedule, he should be ACC Coach of the Year because there's not enough talent on that team to win that. And by the time that ends, or that murderer's row, guess who gets them next? Boston College. So it ends up with a perfect opportunity for BC at the end of the year. Syracuse has just played a hellacious schedule, and then they get BC. So I look at that and I say BC's going to get them. They got them at home. It's a perfect opportunity for them to win. 8-4 right there. Then you're going to feel happy about that, right, folks? 8-4. You head to a bowl game. Maybe you pull off a 9th win there. That is some serious momentum heading into the offseason. And you're 8-4. You have to look at that as a potential for BC to get to a decent bowl too. We're not talking Fenway. We're not talking Millbury or whatever, the lawnmower bowls or whatever they have left still. They're going to look at something at least a little different. And I think that's good. And if they win, that sets up halfway for 2023. What do you think? If you enjoyed this podcast today and you're listening live, because I just figured I'd try this live for the first time, hit that like button on this channel. And if you haven't subscribed, hit subscribe. We do this 5 days a week. I'm going to do these live more often and see how they work out. If they're fun, we'll keep doing it. And hit that subscribe button and follow along. I am the I am the host of Locked On BC. I've been doing this for 3 years now. I hope you enjoyed this. We're going to be doing this 5 days a week all through the season. I'll have Mitch on tomorrow, Mitch Wolf. He's going to give you some guys roster who could, if they have big seasons, he predicts BC will have big years. So check that out on tomorrow's episode as well. This is AJ. You can follow me on Twitter at AJBlack_BC. It's right there. Just hit that button. Make sure you subscribe, and we'll see you all again soon. Stay cool, everyone. We'll see you again tomorrow.